So start of T20I series in South Africa, one of my favorite places to watch cricket alongside Australia, maybe to an extent England, but I'd still put Australia and South Africa 1-2 for, I don't know, maybe it's just the pitches, the extra bounce, and overall how much we've struggled against these two teams probably are the two reasons why. Series has started, but I don't know what's the buzz all around. Not much in terms of news coming out, no controversy, nothing. So there isn't enough juice apart from the fact that today it'll be interesting to see who the two openers are. I think that's been the biggest debate since the last time we did it on the dugout. I think that is something, and the two spinners who are there, and whether Jitesh and both Ishan, as well as there's Rinku as well, who's the finisher. All of that will be interesting, but that's when the teams are announced, that's when the toss is done, and just when I say finally the official broadcast is also started. That's about
5
almost
minutes before the toss.
Yeah, almost half an hour before the toss. That's, I'd say, unusual, right?
Look, the programming that the host broadcasters are doing, they are televising the ODIs. First ODI on the 17th. They are not even bothering about this T20I series. I don't know why. Because now T20Is and tests are the flavor of the next 6 months. Yet I don't know, misplaced priorities
And also
or technical deficiencies.
Doesn't matter what series it is, you start your build-up an hour before. I think that's the bog standard TV rule at this point. And it's nowhere, it's not even on the digital platforms, it's showing it starting at 7:30. It's very weird.
Look, you have downgraded the series also in a way, like, okay, in the last two series that you went in, 2017-18, 21-22, you played 3 tests at least. This time it's just 2 tests.
So that's not down to the broadcasters, that's down to CSS.
Yeah, that's also down to CSA's thing that we can't play 3 tests. Why? Because your SA20 is also coming up. And they have to tour New Zealand, by the way, the B grade team.
No, the tests are going to come up, the ODIs are going to come up. That is a part. What happens during that time, we'll see. But why, why would your first game of the tour not have a 1 hour? I think even if my memory serves me correct, I think even during like some inconsequential India-Afghanistan, India-Bangladesh series also
India, Zimbabwe had a 1 hour build-up for it.
Anywhere, because in TV you have commercials. We were going to start 45 minutes or at least 40 minutes in advance. We usually do 1 hour also. But unlike the broadcaster, we don't have commercials, right? So ours is a clean editorial time, straight up. Like straight up, if it's 40 minutes, it's 45. For a 1 hour show, it's just 20, 25, 35 minutes or so of total time, right? So a bit surprising that they have not started to do the programming.
Rain is coming in Durban.
No, that your programming does not start. How does your programming change because of that?
It's better for them, in fact, if they can go on longer. So you start an hour before. If you have to go longer than that, there's bonus that you're getting these guys who are going to be talking. But I just don't get it.
Unless we know the obsession with star players or a star player that certain broadcasters have.
Yep.
And they are, or he is, or they are not playing. And is that?
I can't comment on this.
Nothing. I don't know. See, wouldn't be out of the ordinary, but then you have to also remember that the broadcasters, the channel that are doing it, had given up on doing a build-up to really anything. Any other sport they may have had, it used to just be live feed. And
that is okay.
And then I think now the next level of progression is then because they barely have much cricket also. The home is gone. They have IPL, but even IPL, I think now once the next TV right cycle comes up, might just get taken.
I know, but I don't know. So series like India South Africa, first game, and we've been talking, and I see genuinely amongst the people who watch us, genuinely there is a lot of interest in the T20Is. As we said, these T20Is are of interest not for just fans but in general for Indian cricket, because a lot of questions that we're looking answers for will be answered here, especially because, as earlier Siddharth also pointed out, this is the T20 World Cup here.
Yeah.
So that is important, and I want to see this young team which did well against Australia, winning 4-1, but the criticism was we won it at home. Now you're playing in South Africa, one of the toughest places to tour alongside Australia, where India overall haven't had a great time, and now this young team is playing under a captain within his second series, Surya Kumar Yadav leading a young team, a Yashasvi Jaiswal, a Ruturaj, or even a Shubman, whoever is playing, and your Rinku Singh, Jitesh Sharma's, Arshdeep's, Mukesh Kumar, so much to look forward to. Yeah, why would it's a minimum like half hour? You just see, because after the toss, I'm just telling you how typically television broadcast does, especially in cricket, because I've done it. You only have about half hour if you're doing a 1 hour program. You only have half hour to discuss things, strategy, what might happen. As soon as the toss is done, you are into the 11 and the toss.
Yeah.
Then you don't even get any other perspective as to what should be done, who should be played, what is the strategy you can look at, ground conditions, all of that can be done before that. Now there's barely any time for it. As soon as you start, the game is going to start. Unless they got lucky this time. See, it couldn't have been because of the rain, but the latest update is that toss is delayed because of rain. Unless they've gotten lucky with that.
Probably, because there has hardly been a build-up. See, normally what would happen in the previous home cycles, at least even a press conference would be shown live of the captains before the start of the match also, start of the series. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Is it because priorities, that's the only thing I look at it.
Budgets.
Could be.
Budgets, main thing. Who's gone there from the Indian?
Okay, but if I'm just looking, because I did say that budget, but budget is what is like whatever, the crew, the talent and everything, right? So that's not going to change if you do a half hour program or 1 hour.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean,
unless don't have it, then I understand.
If you have nothing at all, then you know budgets
like you do for some other sports now. Just go straight to live coverage. Then I would understand. But here, we're doing a half hour program, could have done. I don't know, a bit surprised. But by the way, why are we even wasting time for that? Listen, our pre-match programming on Sports Today doesn't change.
Yes.
It's consistent. We're always with you guys. Before the match, mid-game, as well as post-match. And it's going to be exactly the same throughout this South Africa series. Even at the risk of being a bit vain, we did it even during West Indies.
Of course.
Even if we are patting ourselves on the back, where it was like completely, the graveyard shifts that we did. That happened, and this is the prime time.
This is prime time.
No way we're going to let this go.
I know. So, why did I think I jinxed the weather. Because from 3 to 7, according to the weather forecast, it was clearing up. It was good. There would have not been much of, but yes, prior to this, it was raining in Durban.
It was my off day, and I was not going to come. It's only, I thought it's raining. Then I was like, all the more reason, why waste? Then Siddharth said, no, rain is all gone. It's going to start on time. So I came.
And now it's back.
Now it's back.
Again, 20% chances, but at 20%, unfortunately, Kingsmead was there. That's the problem. Most of Durban may not be raining, but 20% area of Kingsmead might be raining.
Do you know that Kingsmead area is dangerous? I'll tell you what. I got mugged there.
Oh goodness. When was this?
2006 tour.
Oh.
Since we have a lot of time, toss has also not happened. 2006 tour, Durban, right outside Kingsmead. I go to an ATM. And I put my card in and I'm doing, and then there's this tall local guy who gets in. The card is already in, tells me to put the number in. He's already seen, so obviously he was observing me go in. Once he saw me go in, there's nobody around. He comes in, tells me put the pin now. But he knows the card is already in. Now I have to put the pin. And I see the guy, I see that he may have certain thing, and somehow I come out of the ATM and I go away. The guy takes the card, obviously, by which time, and I'm like, the card is gone, but I'll get it blocked. Through my thing. And because it was like an international card, so first I called my office because it was a travel card. It wasn't like my own card. It was a travel card which had a lot of money. So I didn't know directly what to do. So called the office. They sent me a number, the helpline for which I can call and then block the card. And then I got the number. I immediately called. I said, so and so, this is my card. They verified the card. They verified my details because otherwise anyone can call and get the class. So maybe match I can't remember date of birth, whatever. Once it matched, they said, okay, we're blocking her. But I said, can you tell me if there's been a transaction? He's like, yeah, there's been a transaction of $1,000 just like a minute ago.
Damn.
So they stopped it. It could have gotten worse, but now when I realized, so 1,000 could have been possible at one go.
So he would have
had to do it a few times, but by which time the card got blocked. But that one transaction had already been done, $1,000. But then I was also, I hadn't told him my combination number, right? I hadn't told my combination. So anyway, how the story unfolded, I was taken aback a bit, like this has happened, mugging, my card's been stolen, and now money has been withdrawn. And my camera person was also there, but he was like a little further away, sitting in a car where I had called to the ATM, like in the cab. So he was there at that time, all of that. So I came to the ground, and because I'm an international journalist traveling, then it's a serious matter. And then obviously that was raised with the South African Cricket Board. It was like through the media. The South African Cricket Board manager then came with me to the cops, took me to the local police station. I remember I had to register an FIR for all of that. So I registered an FIR. All of that procedure was done. So then I asked the cops, like, how is it? He said, so basically they have something called code reading machines. So they just take that instantly, they can get your code. Or what. So if you remember, then somebody reminded, if you remember, this is that Terminator, that film. I don't know whether it's a part 1, part 2, whatever. You will see that young kid who he's trying to save. One of them is trying to save, the other one's trying to attack, right?
John Connor.
Part 1.
So
John
if you see that there is a scene where he has a machine, he puts the thing and it decodes the card. And then they run on the bike stealing the thing. There's a bike chase, and then that Terminator comes to catch him when then Arnold saves them.
Correct,
the first sequence, first bit. So it was based, so they also had that machine. So it's a small little handy thing that can read a pin of the magnetic strip.
Wow.
So just decodes it for you. It must not be very expensive.
Clearly.
Just decodes it so you can. Wow. So that's how the money was taken out. I lost 1,000, and then of course an FIR was registered. And I still remember in one of those days, Sunny Gavaskar was the first guy who came and spoke to me, because news travels, right? It's a small traveling, so somebody got to know that. So he came to me. He said, "Are you fine? Money is okay, but did you get hurt? I said, no, I ran away before I could. Yeah, but you never know what could have happened. I mean, in hindsight, I would have not resisted. If I was in a situation like that, I would have, money is okay, right? You don't want to resist. But sometimes the cops tell that sometimes those guys, even when they get their stuff, supposing they still kind of stab you. Yeah, or scare you. So stabbing you may not be with an intention to kill you, but stabbing you is like to scare you, and then you will, So whatever, it happened.
I thought this was prevalent in Johannesburg.
In Kingsmead, next to Kingsmead. It must be the closest ATM to Kingsmead.
Damn. Yeah, I remember once our colleague in our previous organization, he had gone just across the street. He was to go to Joburg, the Wanderers. Just outside of the stadium, his laptop and everything stolen. With the blink of an eye.
It happened to us second time. 2010 FIFA World Cup.
Oh damn.
So South Africa again. But it didn't it happened to my team, so I'll tell you again, second story. A lot of my colleagues, Jaideep and all at that time, they were all there. So we were a big crew. We were in Joburg. This is Joburg. In Joburg, they have something called, there's a big mall, I forget the name, but they have something called the Madiba Square, the Nelson Mandela Square near the mall. And that's like the most happening area of, like supposing in Noida, you'll say Mall of India is like the most happening, right? Everyone. So similarly, Joburg had that mall. We had, and so Madiba Square is like this, the Nelson Mandela Square, and it's got all cafes around, and in the middle is a Nelson Mandela statue. A lot of people get their pictures clicked. So we were doing our coverage of the FIFA World Cup, and we were at that square. We would, do a lot of boxes there and all of our other. The whole team that was, we had a 6-member team. We sat in a restaurant and had a lunch in one of the restaurants that were in that square. We finish our lunch and we come down to there's a tree there in the middle. This is a big square, so there's one tree and we all sat down. And so out of the 6, like 2 say they have some work to go, so they go somewhere. 2, me and another person, he wanted to get his picture clicked at the Nelson Mandela. So I said, okay, I'll click it. So 2 of us went. 2 were there, busy smoking or whatever that they were doing. And next to them is a bag lying. There's a bag lying. And he's like, must be looking at the other guy is also here, and we're all here. And then 2 minutes later, just looks down and the bag's gone. I was like, shit, where's my... And that bag had a camera, a laptop, mic, so expensive stuff inside. Gone within seconds. Gone means gone. And then again, we did the same thing, go to the cops, because for the office purposes, you need office equipment, right? Expensive equipment, like an FIR. Then by the time all of us came, said, my bag's gone back, we looked around here, no chance. It's gone within seconds in Joburg. And then if we put a complaint for that, but this time I was wise and I said nothing's going to come of it. Let me tell you guys, nothing's going to happen. And sure enough,
this is basically to show to the office that we've done our due diligence.
No, but I'm saying the cops could have found, but even that usually.
No, we note for the fact that really.
Like because I stayed on after that Durban trip for a long time, so they had my contact details. They would have gotten in touch with me, got someone, nothing. Same here, we stayed a few more days after that. They could have found it, but nothing came out.
There is a reason why.
Dare I say, can I tell you, it happened for me the 3rd time also.
Then 17 or 13.
This 3rd time, different city, Cape Town.
All 3.
This happened 2017 or 16, 17. This is not for a tour. This is, I go for they were going to start the SA T20 league.
Oh yes, that time under Harun Lorgard, they are wanting to do that.
Correct.
Oh yes.
That time was called something else.
Mizanzi T20.
Oh yeah, Mizanzi Super League.
Something. So they did the gala opening. There was an announcement, big announcement. So we had travelled for that. It was a short trip, straight to Cape Town and back. So 3-day sort of a trip where they had various announcements, and we had to do a lot of interviews. I did like Hashim Amla, all of that. They were in Kagiso Rabada, all of that. There were marquee players were announced, fancy stuff, whatever. This is Cape Town, one of the best hotels in Cape Town. And this is inside the hotel. I'm in hotel and I have to do an interview of Hashim Amla in the same hotel in a different area. So I'm in the room and the guy who was organizing, he said, you be in the room, I'll call you as soon as he gets here to the room, I'll call you, no point hanging out. So I was fine. And I kept waiting, and then I get a call on my thing and he says, oh, he's here. And I rushed from the thing, and usually I always carry my wallet, but for this trip, because in the hotel, I left my wallet in my bedside. And I went for the interview. And I came back from the interview, I must have taken half hour or so. I came back to my hotel and then I picked up my wallet and I had about 400, 500 USD in my wallet. The remaining I had not kept like that, thankfully. There was in the car. Those cash 300, 400 US dollars were gone.
Gone from the hotel?
From the hotel. Now I'll tell you what. Obviously and that time the room was made. So that was the time when they did the room service. So it was done. Now imagine this has happened. You have CCTV. You know who is doing your room service. And I complained to the security head that there's so much, this much, and it's happened exactly between this, let's say 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Such and such date, exactly at this time. You clearly know who's on the duty of that floor and who did that particular room, right? You can catch, but nothing. Nothing.
Really?
There was nothing. And then I got to know that, it'll be like a complete racket where who knows, maybe the head of security is also
involved.
There's
It goes, percolates down to everyone. Hafta goes to everyone.
Trickle down economics.
So, moral of the story is Nikhil should not go for 2027 to South Africa.
I should not go to South Africa.
2027.
No one should go to South Africa at this rate.
There is a reason why Johannesburg is called the crime capital of the world. Every 30 seconds a car gets hijacked. Every 30 seconds. Every 40 seconds a murder happens. Every 20 seconds there is a theft.
So it's like GTA in real life.
Yeah. I mean, where did Oscar Pistorius' case happen? In Joburg, right?
Yeah, to be fair,
But that he was.
That he was responsible himself.
yeah, that's a whole different thing. Let's not go there.
Yeah, that's why when you go to Johannesburg, if you ever get the chance, in the cars there is another pedal that is there beside the accelerator. You press that pedal, it will release fire to prevent carjackers from braking.
So you're saying if I ever go to Johannesburg, at this rate I'm probably never going to Johannesburg.
I know.
Is that I used to hear that Kingston in Jamaica was the crime capital of the world.
And
I
it
used
is
to.
bad, admittedly.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I've been to Jamaica a few times, never had this kind of an experience, never. South Africa, I've just told you 3 times, 3 different trips, 3 different cities.
And to say, even our ex-colleague, even he had his laptop, purse, everything stolen outside the Wanderers. And what to do? He's gone. You can't catch him.
Hey, good luck. Catch me if you can.
Seriously.
Dangerous place.
Home.
I remember.
Dangerous place.
I know, very dangerous place.
For non-cricketing stuff also, for cricketing stuff also quite.
I know.
So that's what.
So the latest update is you'll start losing overs from 4:40 local time. That means 8:10 local time you'll start.
You mean 8:10 Indian time?
8:10 IST.
Oh, okay.
8:10 IST you'll start losing overs because 3.5 hours, no? Durban and India. So 4:40 local means 8:10.
Yeah, 8:10.
8:10. You'll start losing overs from 8:10 onwards. So, well, the 20% area Kingsmead, it had to happen, the rain.
So 8:10, that means after 40 minutes of when the match was supposed to start.
Yeah, 45 minutes after the 40 minutes.
40
So,
minutes.
Another 53 minutes left before we start losing overs. And remember, every 8 minutes you lose an over. 2. That's why. Oh, why?
Maybe this is why the broadcaster said, nah. There's no point going live early.
No chance that they would have known.
You look at even the programming, they were only advertising Maza Aayega for the ODIs.
With KL Rahul as the captain.
And speaking immaculate Hindi, let me tell you.
I think his Hindi is fairly good.
Everybody's Hindi is, except for Ashwin who speaks with a Brahminical twang, that's okay.
No, but even Ashwin is quite
Hindi is very
decent.
good.
I am saying from the times where a lot of folks from the south would just not be able to speak any Hindi to now where it's, not even possible, it's more than possible.
I think Venkat struggled for Hindi. Venkat Raghavan.
No, yeah, a lot of them. Till Chika wasn't great either. Chika struggled.
Chika is next level in this Hindi. He's fantastic.
So a lot of them struggled.
Yeah. I think Erapalli struggled, unfortunately. Prasan Prasar and...
But no, it's not, they didn't need to. It's just everyone has their own language and it's fine. It's just that sometimes you would have players who would not know English and they would not know Hindi and then it'd be like tough to communicate. But I guess somehow or the other they managed.
Yeah, but by the way, did you know that India is coming to Durban to play T20 after 16 years?
Yeah. So they only last played in the World Cup?
Yes. The World T20 in Durban, that was the last time they played at the venue. In T20Is, by the way.
And in Durban. They've of course played T20s in South Africa.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the first ever T20I that India played was also in South Africa and I was there. I saw that game in Joburg. At that time, we were like, what? Didn't Tendulkar play another one?
No.
Only one. One match, 10 runs.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he played a T20I in Wankhede.
No, never.
No, he played IPL in Wankhede, nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
100%.
I don't know why I have a
One
feeling.
match, 10 runs. That's it. Bowled by Shah Langavalt.
That match I know.
He's put Sachin Tendulkar and open Don Bradman.
I don't know whether. I don't know why I get a feeling that he
never played a T20I in India.
All I remember of that match was that. All I remember of that particular match was that Dinesh Karthik was man of the match.
Scored the winning runs.
India won that match, and nobody had like really taken that very seriously. And I remember that throughout that tour, because it was a test ODI and a T20I that was played there. I remember what was very interesting, because I was there at the ground, was for the first time we saw cheerleaders and there was an Indian, so there was like not an opening ceremony but a cultural show before a game, and that will never happen in a bilateral series, right? Whether it's a test match, ODI, never used to happen. But because it was a newish format, and it was a format that was considered to bring cricket at the par of, let's say, a baseball and all other prominent sport, so they packaged it like that. And by the way, this is something that people don't give a lot of credit to. South Africa deserves a lot of credit for making T20s as glamorous as they were. IPL came much later. It was the 2007 World Cup, not just the fact that India won, but how they marketed it. It's South Africa that did those cheerleaders, the music, the DJ, and the whole fun and families coming for a T20 game. That not only started from the 2007 World Cup, but that's the first time I experienced it in person when I saw that 2006 T20I. So credit to them that they were a bit forward thinking, ahead of their times, where they knew that this is the format, it needs to be marketed like that. They did it at that one-off game. First time I saw it at the ground. Then of course it carried on for the 2007 World Cup. It was a roaring success. The entire tournament, the organization packed houses, by the way, if you remember. All of that, those, if you remember those, whatever, laser kind of fireworks or whatever things going up after 4s and 6s, they did all of that. Maybe taking a cue from that. IPL of course improvised and improved upon it later, but I think credit to South Africa for having done all that.
I mean, whatever events, whatever we have discussed, the unfortunate crime history in South Africa, but whatever sporting events they have conducted, it's been next level. I think 2010 FIFA, the action and the organization that was there was
terrible. Organization also, by the way, there's a very dark underbelly. Not just Blatter. It was very similar to what even happened in Brazil 4 years later. Was that when it came to reviving the infrastructure and all, they again ended up, a lot of poor people ended up getting very badly displaced. So that was one problem with South Africa. And the other thing, the biggest crime, even bigger than this, those gosh darn vuvuzelas. It was terrible.
But can I tell you, I was there at that World Cup, covered it. I mean, apart from, of course, the corruption and all of that may have happened, the World Cup per se, I think for the very first time, you got that African flavor. And I'm just talking about, which is very important. I'm just talking about, it's just staying in South America and the Europe, and then went to the US as well. But, first time coming to Africa, and I know the first world was very skeptical. Why has it been given there? How is it going to help, and so on and so forth. But eventually, I think that it did a lot of good in terms of dispelling those notions that nobody outside of South America and Europe can organize a World Cup. So I think that. Secondly, in terms of what it did for the people, and I'm talking about because I did a lot of stories with locals there, what it did to the morale, and I see people there love football. And I remember doing shows from Soweto, which is considered the biggest slum of, it's not a slum actually, it's like much like how Mumbai you call Dharavi the biggest slum of the thing, but now people have fancy gadgets, fancy cars and all of that. It's just a congested area. I think that's the right word. So Soweto is like that, in Joburg. So we used to travel to Soweto. We did a lot of stories. And Soweto is when Nelson Mandela also hailed from, basically a poor neighborhood, if I could say. So I mean, the kind of joy that it got, they had these screens and people in the evening would just come there. It was like 1 month of party and 1 month of opportunity of folks from Africa that could never probably afford tickets to go to Europe and various other places to enjoy that World Cup. And they love their sport, they love their football. So I think in a cultural sense, it was amazing.
Yeah, and now you see, it started with South Africa. Now 2030, I think, 2030, you're going to be seeing a World Cup hosted in 3 nations. The third of which is what? Morocco, African nation.
No, but isn't 2026 been hosted in 3 nations?
I said 2030.
In Africa, you mean?
It's being hosted in 3 nations in different continents.
Oh yeah,
It's Spain,
Portugal.
Paraguay, and Paraguay
Portugal.
has a couple of games. Why? Because 2030 is the centenary year of the FIFA World Cup. 1930 was the first
that's
ever World
terrible,
Cup. Oh, that's terrible. It is terrible.
But
Because
Asia hosted Uruguay. Why Paraguay?
Exactly. Why Paraguay?
and also, there is a lot of pride in being hosts of a World Cup.
Yes.
You get the country's local flavor, and by the way, for the fans to travel to see some other games, so much more easier for the media. And I covered the Qatar World Cup, and what I loved about that was, and I think that is something that should be encouraged, is that imagine being in the same city and you can actually watch 3 games in a day. So not everyone can take out that much time. People could come in for like a weekend but get the full experience and go back. Now imagine having to watch, and supposing you're a fan, you want to see Argentina, you want to see Brazil, maybe you want to see Germany, whatever, France, what your favorite team. You could just be in 2-3 days manage to see all of them. Now one country in this continent,
You've got co-hosts, even 26. You've got USA,
Terrible.
Mexico, and Canada.
Terrible.
Horrible.
But this is
Terrible idea.
Spain, Paraguay.
Paraguay has a couple of games, and also you're right. It should ideally be Uruguay, considering they hosted the first World Cup.
And they won it.
Yeah. So I don't understand a lot of what's going on. In fact, FIFA itself is a very mystifying organization.
But by the way, for all our fans, remember Soweto is an acronym, is a short form, just like Noida, Southwestern Township.
Oh,
Soweto.
Soweto.
Yeah. Just like Noida.
New Oakland Industrial Development Area.
Yep. I found that out only 5 years ago. I never knew it was a short form.
You were living there for
11 years, 5 years only later, I thought, there's no place called Noida. It actually is New Oakland Industrial Development Authority.
It's Gautam Budh Nagar.
Gautam Budh Nagar, yes, that's the district you're in. So, So Southwestern Township, Soweto. A lot of footballers also, I think, went there for a lot of.
Yeah, they did a lot of events. I remember Soweto had there were a lot of fan parks, official FIFA fan parks in Joburg, of course in Durban too. Every city had its, big fan park. They had one massive one in Soweto.
Yeah.
So we would go for a few matches there as well to watch a few games, because we didn't have passes for each game to be watching it.
Yep.
So a lot of games that you'd see, and why I liked it, because it was in one country and you could pretty much be in 2-3 big cities and be able to watch it. So even if you want to watch multiple countries and some are just playing in one city, some in the other, you can travel. So Joburg to Durban, about 5 hours sort of a drive, right? Or take a flight, take a 45-minute flight or 1 hour flight, or within 1 hour you can get from one city to another. So maybe you can see a game in Durban, in Joburg. So over a period of 2-3 days, you could see 2-3 cities and come back, right? It's an opportunity. When Brazil hosted it, similar, where you get the flavor of the entire country. When Qatar hosted it, similar. Russia hosted it, similar. I'm just talking about the latest World Cup which I saw. But if you're going to do it like this, different continents, it's terrible.
That was 6 was also good. Germany is not exactly the biggest country in terms of, let's say, square miles. So you had those few stadiums, you knew it would be a good experience.
It would be. So, yeah, it's still drizzling apparently in Durban. Okay. And all weather forecasts, please. Apply.
Do we have some sawals we can take?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take one by one.
Those will come
afterwards, yeah.
Okay, I just leave it. Okay, that's it. Why is
Luis Dupuy not in the SA squad? Seems like a top class player. Well, Luis Dupuy is one of the guys who's done well in the domestic South African T20 leagues, if you look at it. But they already have some in the form of Nandre Berger and all the others. Bretske is there, all from the SA20 who are coming up and doing well in the South African team at this point in time. So basically, I think Luis Dupuy did not do well in the SA20 also. I think that's the criteria now for selection into the South Africa team, copying the Indian model.
Considering it is a mini IPL, sure.
Yeah.
If every team is owned by an IPL, thing, so fine, why not?
Yep, it is. Strange are the ways, my friend Shri. Luis Dupuy not in the SA squad, but
Naveen Veluswamy.
Veluswamy, will Rohit and Virat be selected for WC 2024 mainly to promote cricket in the USA?
See, that logic works if a lot of people in America know who Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma are. Like, for instance, to give you a comparison, if you're talking about how they promoted football, or as the Americans call it, soccer, in that country, a Pele was a well-known player, David Beckham was world famous, Lionel Messi, world famous. I think we sometimes overestimate the popularity of a Rohit Virat, and that's not me dissing them. Their popularity is great, but again, I'm not so sure that would be a reason. Not so sure that would be
I'm saying even if they were popular, even if they were as popular as Pele in the US, why would I be worried about the popularity of the sport and it needs to spread to the US and then pick my team? I would want to pick my team based on which is the best team that can win me the World Cup.
Exactly, it's a World Cup.
If they fit in in that best team that will help me win the World Cup, sure enough. If they do not fit in, I'm not picking them, irrespective of the fact most popular, least popular, mid popular. It doesn't matter. To make the sport popular, you have to do various other things. And let the people who are in charge of doing that, let them do. If you are selecting a team, if you are in India and you are selecting a team, your job is what? Your job is to pick the best team possible.
Exactly. Nag. I want to quickly ask about the ICC events that are happening every year for quite some time. Is it good or bad? Are we somehow losing the sanity of ICC events?
Pretty sure he meant sanctity.
Sanctity, yes.
But I agree with him. Every year having an ICC event means there's no novelty anymore.
It isn't. Every couple of years you have the same teams. If you have to look at even rivalries, bilateral rivalries also.
They're dead.
Look at India, Australia playing every 1 year, 2 year. India, England every 1-2 years. I mean, this is the second time in 2 years that India and England want to play. A test match in 22, one off. Now we want to play 5 tests.
And don't forget, you had also a white ball series in 2022 in England.
Yeah.
If you're talking about Australia, you hosted Australia just before the T20 World Cup. Then you hosted them in the start of the year. Then again before the ODI World Cup. And then again for the T20 World Cup series. It's overkill to the extreme.
It is extreme overkill. And again, from now till 31, every year there is an ICC event. Every year.
And that's how it's going to be now.
Till India doesn't win it, surely.
It will be, yes. Raj Das Gupta saying, Harare also, most African cities are like this.
Last couple of questions, okay?
Yeah.
Let's take. Which is the one, what did you say? Just leave it. What is the question? What will you take? Harare also. Most African cities are like this. Oh, he means in terms of unsafe?
Unsafe, yeah.
Though I've been to Harare too. I didn't find that very unsafe. Much better. I'm sharing my personal experiences, but I don't know what the data suggests. Maybe you could be right on that, but I'm not sure about
Go up.
Okay, Akash is saying...
Guys, do you see West Indies doing a 2012 or 16 this time in T20 World Cup? They look like a good T20 team. Akash, see, there is a euphoria about the fact that you won against England in the West Indies, a bilateral series after 25 years. And this is the West Indies team that did not qualify even for the World Cup.
Correct.
But there is a reason why a host nation has never won the T20 World Cup. No host nation has ever won the T20 World Cup because teams somehow manage to raise their A game at a very particular juncture.
Yeah, all these... all host countries had won the last 3 50-over World Cups. India didn't win this one. No?
Yeah, I know.
So I don't care.
See, anyway, West Indies, look, Dre Russ is back.
I think that's the other point I was coming to, is that they're bringing back a lot of these freelance T20 stars. So people are suddenly getting excited.
2 years later for the West Indies team he's playing. 2 years.
Only 2?
He played the T20 World Cup, not 21.
Oh yeah.
So 2 years later he's coming.
That 21 World Cup, I think for me exists in another dimension somehow. It was a very weird year.
It was a very weird year indeed. So, I know. That lasted only 2 games for us, by the way. That's it, finished.
Exactly. After that it was Namibia, Scotland. Forget about it.
And Afghanistan, by the way.
Yeah.
So...
Okay. No update on the rain front. Is there any update on the rain front?
Pawan, just no
update as such. So, what we're going to be doing is saying bye-bye. Only to return once the toss happens, when the teams are announced, whatever is the 11, all of that.
Yeah.
All that masala gossip, we'll be back with that. For the moment, taking your leave. You guys stick to your devices from where you're watching us. Press the bell icon, because as soon as we get to know when the game is starting, how many overs, all of that, toss, all of that details, you'll get to know. Get busy doing whatever else you want to do on a Sunday. Leave the worries of finding out the details about the rain to us.
Yeah.
You just press the bell icon. Then notification will come. We are live. Come live to us.
Yep.
Enjoy a Sunday evening.
Yeah.
They ensure that I don't enjoy it, but you guys enjoy it. Only if you had told me that it's raining.
Yeah, I'm a